Alright, we gotta ask around to see where we're going. Which, by the way, so this game has hub worlds, as you can see, or it has hubs, which, you know, you may remember Sonic 06 had hubs, and you know, I said I didn't like the hubs in Sonic 06, but I actually do like the hubs in this game. They're much better. Like, they're not as big, they're just much smaller. As you can see with the maps before you load in, they're much smaller. And everyone actually looks different. Which is another thing I want to bring up. Like, the fact that, you know, for the longest time, like since Adventure, I believe, Sonic Team they had a goal of trying to make a Sonic game that takes place like in our world, you know, a world with humans and whatnot. It's something they've been. It's something. Let's see what's up with her. Okay. Yeah, it's something that they've been working towards pretty much since like the turn of the century. Oh, nice! I learned something. I think we could get out of here now. Yeah, it's something that they've been working towards since the turn of the century. All right, let's go. Oh, and yep, there we go. Just like that, we're in Mazuri. We don't even have to fly over there. As you can see here, this place is clearly inspired by African tribes. Which ones? I don't really know exactly. But I like it. I really like this place. I like the way it looks. I like how, despite living in a modern world, they still live, you know, in a more simplistic and rustic tribe. Is rustic even the right word? I'd like to think so. Oh, but like I was saying, you know, that's the thing we noticed with all the games that. All the Sonic games that came out like after, well, since he made the transition to 3D, is that they wanted more. There's more humans involved, and I mean Sonic 06, like, oh, the humans just look weird, you know, like I don't even know how to describe it. But in this game, I like the way that they're designed, cause. Yeah, they look very cartoony. They have very cartoony features. But I think that's a good thing, because considering Sonic, like, he's essentially a cartoon character. That's what he looks like. It works. Like, these humans do blend in well with Sonic's world, because, you know, they don't stand out. That's one of the issues I feel like that was one of the issues with Sonic 06 was oh man. Yeah, that was one of the issues with Sonic 06 was that why, like, it was the fact that, you know, you had Sonic and his friends, obviously, these huge anthropomorphic animals standing side by side with these realistic looking human beings, and that's why it's just like, it's so weird. Looks like we found some tea. But with this game, the humans don't actually stand out all that much when they're standing next to Sonic. So it's just crazy to think that it really took Sonic Team what, like a decade to finally get it right. I mean, I know in Sonic Adventure there are humans too, and it's not to say that they didn't look weird, or it didn't look weird, because it kind of did. I mean, the first adventure game with the adventure fields, yeah, you see all these humans, Sonic's just talking to them, and they're also pretty realistic. And then you have Sonic Adventure 2, but at least with Adventure 2, since there were no like hubs, the only interaction they have with the human, besides Eggman of course, which, you know, Eggman's the exception because he also is made to look cartoony, which, you know, it's interesting how in those games, you know, the humans look realistic, but Eggman, he still look cartoony. I know Sonic 06 tried to make him look much more realistic, and that's how we ended up with the abomination of his design in that game, but and even then, like, he still looked pretty weird.
Sonic!
There's a medal back here, and I don't know how I'm gonna get to. Oh, okay, I think I do know how. Yeah. But yeah, Sonic Adventure 1 aside, or Sonic Adventure 2, aside from Eggman, the only other human you really see them interact with, well, there's Maria, I guess. I forgot about Maria, but I was gonna say the president. But considering like you only see them in like 1 or 2 cutscenes each, you know, it doesn't make a huge difference. Or it doesn't make a. Oh, I guess there's also Gerald Robotnik. I forgot about Gerald Robotnik, but same thing. I mean, he kind of looks like Eggman too. Well, but he does look more realistic. He has more realistic proportions. Don't mind me, I'm just exploring. I'm just exploring the area, trying to see if I can get some medals before we move on. And as you can see, I have some new moves that I can use. Alright, let's go here. Okay, so we can't go through here because we need a grind, and unfortunately Sonic the Werehog cannot grind. Alright, I think that's everything here, so let's go on, let's just move on to the level, shall we? Alright, here we go. Savannah Citadel, Act 1. Okay, so here we are, Savannah Citadel. Oh man. There's some weird flowers here that we gotta take out. And the game's running in 60 FPS right now. I love that. This game looks so gorgeous when it runs at 60. So, talking about the hub worlds and the humans and whatnot, and the adventure games, it's a great way to segue to what I was gonna say next. Is that I do want to talk a little bit about the development of this game, mainly because, so if you're a Sonic fan, you would know that the one game that everyone's asking for in the community is Sonic Adventure 3. But did you know that this game was actually originally supposed to be Sonic Adventure 3? Yeah, it was actually supposed to be Sonic Adventure 3, and even like some of the developers said that that's what it was going to be called, but then they changed it. Well, before I get into that, you can see though. Well, okay, yeah, they did say they did end up changing it though, and it was, as you can guess, because of Sonic 06. So because you know, like, well, first of all, I think like what you need to ask yourself is what exactly makes an adventure game, you know? Because you have Sonic Adventure 1 and Adventure 2, but what is it about them that gives them, like, makes them different from other games? Because, you know, when people say, oh, I want Sonic Adventure 3, like, what exactly does that mean? Because Sonic Heroes is a sequel to Sonic Adventure 2, yet, you know, people say don't consider that Adventure 3, and then I would say Sonic 06 is essentially a spiritual successor to the adventure games because it plays a lot like the adventure games, but what is it that gives, you know, a Sonic game the title of adventure? And I mean, I don't know. If you ask me, I don't even know the question to that, because to me, you know, I don't really care if I get an Adventure 3 or not. I mean, if they make it, I'm not gonna complain. But I just always kind of see it, I just kind of see adventure as more of a title, you know? It's not something like a type of Sonic game, you know? But I don't know, that's just how fans are a little weird sometimes. It's kind of like with, like, for example, Mario Galaxy, right? The Mario Galaxy games clearly have a different, like, formula compared to, like, the other Mario games. So when you say, oh, I want a Mario Galaxy game, like, I think in that regard, like, you know exactly what you're asking for. You know exactly what you want. But can I make this jump? Okay, just making this jump. But like with Sonic Adventure, because really, what is it about Sonic Adventure that's supposed to stand out from other Sonic games, or that other Sonic games don't have? I mean, stages, like, I guess the momentum, focusing on, like, I guess specifically Sonic, or no, well, first of all, like, different playstyles, right? Well, Sonic 06 has that with different characters. And yeah, you get to play as different characters too. Sonic Heroes has that too. I mean, there's different characters you can play as, and it does have different gameplay to some extent, or varied gameplay to some extent. What else? Hub worlds or adventure fields. Well, that kind of doesn't work because considering Adventure 2 doesn't even have that at all, and yet it's called Sonic Adventure 2. Oh man. Yeah, it's called Sonic Adventure 2 and it doesn't have adventure fields or hub worlds. What else? Multiple stories? Well, basically every game after Sonic Adventure has multiple stories. Even Shadow has it, even though you only play as Shadow in that game. I mean, really the only thing I can say that's what people mean when they're talking about Sonic Adventure is it's just the gameplay of Sonic, you know, because if you really think about it, the way Sonic plays in the adventure games is very like momentum driven. You know, it's essentially how you would picture 2D Sonic gameplay translated to 3D, because you know there's no boosting, there's no gimmicks. It's just typical Sonic level design, and yeah, Sonic gets faster depending on how you use the momentum that he gets from the stage, right? From the stage designs. Let me just take these robots out real quick. Okay. Because if you really think about it, yeah, if you take some time to think about it, there's no Sonic game after Adventure 2, I guess aside from Sonic 06, but that has that kind of like gameplay style, because Heroes kinda has it, but it's not really the same. Shadow also kinda has it, but it's not really the same. So I don't know. Point is though, this game, well, first of all, that's why I don't really care about getting Adventure 3, because to me it's just a title. But the fans, when they say, oh, they want Adventure 3, they essentially just want a Sonic game that's like Sonic Goes, or like Adventure 1 or Adventure 2. To me, I don't really care. As long as it's just a good Sonic game, that's all I care about. As long as it's just good and it's fun. But yeah, so this game was supposed to be Adventure 3, and you can actually see some of like the... You can actually see some of like the... It has some of the DNA for what the first two adventure games had, you know, like the fact that the game takes place in a world similar to ours, you know, with humans and whatnot, and like the levels being more realistic compared to, you know, like classic Sonic levels that have... Well, you know what I mean, like when I say Sonic levels, like the more outlandish designs, like Green Hill, you know, kind of like picture like the levels from the classic Sonic games, like Green Hill and Carnival Night, Metropolis, you know, levels that don't look like they could exist in our world. But when you look at levels like Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2, I mean, they still do have their Sonic look to them, but yeah, but they do look like levels that could exist in our world. But yeah, this game has that. Like, just look at these levels. I mean, aside from like floating platforms and whatnot, of course, obviously, but I screwed that up. I need that thing down here. Yeah, like, just look at this place. It does look like it could be an actual place in this world. There's hub worlds, of course. The only thing, I guess the only thing you could say that it doesn't have is it doesn't really have different characters that you can play as, and it doesn't really have different gameplay or variety of gameplay. Just the two was Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Werehog. But yeah, so this game was originally supposed to be Adventure 3, but surprise, surprise, like if you didn't already have a good enough reason to hate Sonic 06, maybe this would be your reason. It's the fact that yeah, this game was supposed to be Adventure 3, but because of the reception of Sonic 06, they decided to tone things down a bit because they felt like, you know, one of the issues with Sonic 06 is like it was just too grand. There's too many characters and whatnot, and like, you know, obviously the story was kind of getting a little convoluted with a bunch of different character stories you had to keep track of and whatnot. And then I don't know, I think this was around the time where I believe it was IGN said like probably like what I think is like one of the most infamous phrases in the Sonic community, which is that they complained, they started, when they reviewed Sonic games, like right around like that time, they said that one of the reasons why Sonic games weren't that good was because Sonic had too many friends. Which I think is the dumbest, like, I think it's like the dumbest comment you can make ever, especially about a game. Like, oh, why does this game suck? Oh, because this protagonist has way too many friends. That makes no sense. I think maybe what they were trying to say is maybe there's just like too many characters to play as, and it can kind of drag down the experience. And then especially because, you know, Sonic is really one of the few characters in the franchise that can run fast, you know? Because you look at Tails, and well, Tails can't run as fast as Sonic. Knuckles definitely can't run as fast as Sonic. But you see, like, even though you could play them in games like Adventure and Heroes, they don't play like Sonic. And maybe it's like what they're trying to say is, well, when we play Sonic games, what we want is, like, you know, to play like Sonic. Because you could say, I mean, you could argue that Mario also has a lot of friends too. But no one has ever, I don't think anyone has ever complained about that. But this, because the thing is, you know, most of the times you play as Mario, and then the games where you can play as other characters besides Mario, they pretty much play exactly like Mario. Like, look at Luigi. Luigi plays exactly like Mario in most of the games that he's in. And then, like, if you look at like the new Super Mario Brothers, you got like the, you know, the games where you can play up to 4 people. I mean, the Toads play just like Mario and Luigi too. But with Sonic, really the only games where other characters play exactly like Sonic is the classic games, the 2D games. But even then, they kind of have some differences, you know, like Tails can fly, Knuckles can glide and climb, and so on. But then when you get to the 3D games, you know, they don't really play like Sonic at all, and I don't really think that's a bad thing. But yeah, you know, that was a complaint of IGN that Sonic had way too many friends, and because of that. Now, it isn't the reason why Sonic is the only playable character in this game, as the development team said they just wanted to focus on they wanted to switch from having a lot of characters be playable to just only Sonic being playable, to keep the story more simple and grounded, as well as just having the chance to flesh out Sonic's gameplay more, you know, to have more time to make Sonic play better. And then if they only have to focus on just making gameplay for one character, that's way easier than having to focus on making gameplay for like 6 different characters. But I would say that it probably is the reason why like games after Sonic 06, you don't really see a lot of other fan favorite Sonic characters as much. Which, yeah, you'll see. I mean, just look at this game so far. So far, the only characters we've seen are Sonic and Tails. No Knuckles, no Amy, no Shadow, no Rouge. I mean, there's Chip, but Chip is a new character to this game, so. Yeah, and in fact, it's interesting because even though it's not called Sonic Adventure 3, they did decide to keep the adventure name in the Japanese version, or I guess in all the versions of the game outside of the US, because this game outside the US is actually called Sonic World Adventure. I believe it's only in the US where it's called Sonic Unleashed. Get that shit out of my face. And here's the end of the level. And as you can see, you look off at the distance, you can clearly tell that's like Eggman in space. Another S rank, that's what I like to see. That took almost 18 minutes. So let's level up the shield. Level up Unleashed. And then let's go with Strength. I have a little bit. Let's give it to Life.
Professor Pickle! Are you alright? We got here as fast as we could. Professor?
Hello?
How dare they call this culinary concoction food? Look here, do you see this sorry excuse for a sandwich? The bread should be no less than 3/4 of an inch thick. Upon it, 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise and a pinch of black pepper. The contents, fresh cucumber, sliced thinly, if you please. Am I quite right, Tails?
I know I learned something here today.
Professor, it's good to see you haven't changed.
But tell me, what brings you here? The menu is hardly worth the trip, if you ask me.
No, Professor. We came here to rescue you.
Oh? Oh, I see. How rude of me. Right then, first things first. It's about time someone taught the chef here how to make a proper sandwich.
You can file a complaint later, Professor.
Let's get out of here before Eggman's welcoming committee shows up.
Oh, yes, quite. But let us be sure to collect the contents of that vault before departing. Ah, thank you. Those documents are our only hope for surviving this crisis. Let's go. There's no time to lose. I'm half starved after being fed nothing but those terrible sandwiches.
Want some chocolate, Professor?
My. Don't mind if I do. These ancient documents are known as the Gaia manuscripts. They tell the legend of a disaster that befell our planet some tens of thousands of years ago.
A disaster?
Quite. And according to the Gaia manuscripts, this isn't the first time the planet has been broken apart into pieces. The cause lies at the very core of the planet. All the phenomena we've witnessed are the direct result of one creature. The hyper-energy organism spawned at the planet's core, Dark Gaia.
So how do we stop this Dark Gaia and put the world back together?
Luckily, Dark Gaia has yet to be fully reborn. We most likely have Dr. Eggman's premature wake-up call to thank for that. If we act now, we may be able to restore the planet by returning power to the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic, you must travel to each of the temples listed in the Gaia manuscripts. The planet's power will restore the Chaos Emeralds, and in turn, the Chaos Emeralds will restore the planet and help it heal naturally.
So I'll carry on. My time to shine is come.